the South American rainforest. Here on the Essequibo River in Guyana, the continent's biggest mammals, reptiles and birds come out to play. The tapir, the anaconda, the caiman, and the harpy eagle. I'm Rainer Bergomaz, and this is Young Sandy. For 10 years, we've been challenging the rainforest, finding and filming the South American Big Four. The anaconda, the 200-kilo swimming snake, may grow to 9 meters. But the most spectacular of the great rainforest predators is far above our heads. The harpy eagle, with the sharpest eye and beak in nature, and claws longer than a grizzly bear's. But they're caring parents too. They are the rulers of the canopy of South America's unspoiled rainforest. We're on our way up the Essequibo River. Deep in the forest, heading to the domain of the harpy. This eagle needs a territory 10 kilometers square. That only comes far from humans. Rapids and waterfalls are the best protection against civilization. They make the river useless as a highway. On the other side of the waterfall is the harpies' territory, and a whole ecosystem of animals that couldn't survive around humans. The only way to get there is over hundreds of meters of rock steps. It looks spectacular enough now, and this is the dry season. When the rains come, this will be an impassable, raging torrent. But it's also a special environment of its own, not to be missed. It's home to tiger herons, having a wonderful time fishing in the pools. In the gaps between the waterfalls lives spectacled caiman, so called because of the bony ridge over their eyes. In the right light, it looks like the frame of a pair of horn-rimmed spectacles. They can grow up to 2.5 meters long. The fish almost jump into their jaws. Whenever the water level drops, the water plants suddenly burst into flower. They may have only days to be pollinated and produce seeds before the water rises again. Then they must cling onto the rocks and hope they're not eaten by the pacu. These big vegetarian relatives of piranhas live only in these quiet pools amongst the rapids. Getting past these rocks and waterfalls will take a whole day of hard work, so we get the rest in first. Everything has to be unpacked and carried up. Each rock step takes at least an hour, and almost as long to get back down for the next load. The last load is the boat itself, all 200 kilos of it. Young cuts logs as a bit of ancient technology. At the next cataract, we drag the boat up a side channel. It's quicker, but if the rope snaps, we lose the boat and have a long walk home. It's taken us all day to climb 30 meters. But as we survey the scene, already one thing is clear. We're in another world. This family of giant otters has been attracted by the variety of fish in the pool. They're so relaxed because they don't recognize humans as dangerous. The waterfall has done its trick. The white mark on the throat of every otter is different, but scientists think otters recognize each other by their scent. This rock is a family bathroom for the giant otters. All the members of the family do their business in the same place to strengthen the scent marker that claims this as their own. This space is occupied. From here on, every animal will be claiming its territory against competitors from the same species. It's a powerful way to understand how the rainforest works. Above the waterfall, the river splits into many narrow channels. Lianas and branches crowd over the water and make the going tough. This capuchin monkey instinctively copies my gestures. It's a sign of high intelligence. In nature, these monkeys even use tools. Just as for us humans, imitation is a vital part of learning and becoming one of the community. The tapir and its young could hardly be more different. Almost blind, protected by their sheer bulk, these mammals live in their own world of sights and scents. If we keep quiet, the tapirs won't notice us. They always stay near the riverbanks, where the sunlight reaches the forest floor and the grasses and water plants they like to eat can grow. South America's biggest mammals can weigh up to 500 kilos. "40 meters above us is the canopy, and beyond that, the open sky, realm of the animal we've come to find and film. It could be anywhere in this vast expanse. One eagle's territory covers 100 square kilometers. Kapok trees are the tallest trees in the rainforest, and they're the only place an eagle will build its nest. This is what we have come to see. We filmed a mating pair once before. The female is bigger than the male and twice his weight. It's an unmistakable signal that she's ready, but he hesitates. Harpies only give birth every 2 or 3 years because they have to look after the fledgling for more than a year before it can fly free. This time we aim to film the birth and early weeks of a chick, all in the few weeks before the rainy season makes filming impossible. Right now, all we see are other tree dwellers, like the three-toed sloth. The sloth is favorite prey for the harpy. And so are squirrel, and capuchin monkeys. The difference between them is that the sloth will have less chance to get away. When the harpy attacks. This female harpy has killed a sloth and carried it down to the riverbank. Harpies cut up their bigger prey immediately after the hunt. What they don't eat at once, they bring back to the nest, bit by bit. The male and female harpy will have separate hunting territories, so they'll never get in each other's way. But this female doesn't seem to think much of her kill, and she doesn't stick around.
Let's make camp here. Okay.
We've sighted the eagle. So far, so good. The next task is to find her nest. But that's a job for tomorrow. The toucan wakes us with the message that it's time to rack up the expedition. Time to go vertical. We need a tree that's higher than the rest to use as an observation platform to find the harpy.
So we stand on the second, or close to the two of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we tie the rope down here somewhere.
We've done this 1,000 times. First, you shoot the fishing line with the crossbow. Then you pull it back with a thicker line.
Okay, ready.
Now you draw a climbing rope over the high branch and attach it to the next door tree. Then you put your full weight on it. It looks crude, but a weak branch breaks and the rope slides down to a safer position. These padded harnesses are the ones used by rescue services. The climbing techniques are borrowed from cavers. I go first to clear the way. An opossum freezes with fear at the unfamiliar sight.
Jan, give me the camera. Give it up.
That's when I notice she's carrying a baby on her back. The higher you climb, the thicker the vegetation. 1 hectare of forest contains about 20 tons of leaves. This will be our base for the next few weeks, among the moss and plants clinging to the branches for their share of the sunlight. The first animal we see is an all-too-visible sloth. His fat stomach is typical for a leaf-eating herbivore. The only big bird is a king vulture. The sloth is moving much too fast to attract his attention. He's only interested in smelling out rotten meat, a bit like that strange piece of flesh on his beak. Nobody knows what it's there for. And suddenly the harpy arrives. Apparently she finds us interesting. And when she flies off, we can check where to follow her to her nest.
To the mountain. And from here to here it's about 20 miles.
As long as we get a bearing, we can make the journey on foot.
Okay, we are here at the fall, and the fall is over there.
The GPS reading says the fall is here. This is our point.
We have to go southwest.
We have to go south. So we have to cross here. We have to cross over a small river. Then, and approximately, it depends on the forest.
It's about 20 kilometers to the harpy's nest. Surprisingly easy going because the vegetation isn't thick down here. Few plants, lots of fungi. Big herbivores are rare in the rainforest. But the forest floor is teeming with invertebrates, insects, even crabs. The rainforest is mostly flat, but in the rainy season the river has carved a deep gorge here. The climbing ropes come into service for some abseiling. Across the river is the 40-meter kapok tree housing the harpy's nest. Too late to cross tonight. By 6, it'll be dark. Tomorrow will be another heavy day. Time to get some rest. First, there's a river to cross. It's running fast, so Young offers to go ahead with the rope. I can have the easy job of following on with the waterproof packs. But as the bubble packs are pushed up, I'm pushed down. That was harder than expected, and now we still have to climb. From now on, it's all about building up confidence. The harpy female has to get used to us. She'll leave her nest and watch for a while. She has no experience of humans, so she has no reason to see us as a threat, yet. But if she changes her mind, her claws could inflict a terrible injury. Harpies have the reputation of protecting their nests very aggressively. We climb up to a side branch of this gigantic tree to keep our distance. We have our vantage point. Now it's up to her. We can only wait quietly. Finally, she flies back to her nest. The two yellowish eggs are typical for a harpy. Sitting on the nest is the female's job. The male should bring food, but we've only seen the female. The rest of the day, she broods on the eggs. And as night falls, there's still no sign of the male. With the dawn, we're back in position. As the forest wakes, the nest is deserted. We're not sure what has happened. We even wonder if we have scared the female away. This isn't quite what we expected. Even the monkeys are approaching nearer, more relaxed than they'd be if the eagle were close by. When she suddenly returns and settles on the eggs, she immediately calls for food and for the male. There's no answer. It's beginning to look like she's on her own. To hunt and brood won't be easy. It's an unusual situation. Harpy couples generally stay together. Her instinct tells her to stay in the nest and look after the eggs. She turns them one more time. And settles down. She'll be here for hours. It's a chance for us to take a closer look at the canopy. The rainforest is divided into vertical layers, with the canopy the highest and most active. Many species are specially adapted to life here and never touch the ground in their lives. The giant maki frog lays its eggs in rolled-up leaves overhanging the river. The tadpoles fall into the river, where they become frogs and climb back into the trees. Scarlet macaws gather in a palm tree to eat the nut-like fruits. There are thousands of fruits, but they still squabble over single nuts. They find plenty of nooks and crannies in the crowns to build their nests. These birds live in family groups, grooming each other with great care. They form lifelong partnerships and can live together for up to 70 years. Toucans live at the very highest points of the trees. Their call is clearly heard at dawn and dusk. Their giant bill radiates the warmth of their bodies to cool them down. There are predators here too. A young emerald boa lies in wait for prey. But this green iguana spots it and looks for cover. Here in the canopy, the camouflage of both hunter and hunted can be almost perfect. There comes a moment when the best defense is to do absolutely nothing. The lizard can escape this vine snake too. The eagle ignores the activity around her. A group of Guyanese howler monkeys approaches, on the lookout for young sweet shoots in the canopy peaks. These are the most nutritious leaves in the rainforest, but they still have to eat a lot of them. And howlers have grown so big, up to 10 kilos, in order to digest them. And they need time for that, lying idly in the trees. But they never quite stop scanning the skies for danger. As long as it's just vultures, no problem. Back in the nest, the harpy seems to be surviving on old scraps of maggot-infested meat. She's very hungry. Normally, the male would bring her food every other day. But he's missing. And finally, the female has to leave the nest again to hunt. I leave too, to explore at ground level along the riverbank. Tayras mark their territory with feces. There's a variety of old and new feces here, so they're probably not far away. A few pieces of fruit should make excellent bait. Tayras will eat anything: small vertebrates, insects, reptiles, birds' eggs, and sweet fruit. This pair of young Tayras have only just left the protection of their mother. They'll take care of each other in these most dangerous months of their lives. They've claimed their territory, and they'll defend it together. Up in the canopy, Young waits for the harpy's return. The Tayras get up here too, attracted by some new scents and objects. Lianas are their own private pathways through the canopy. All Tayras are inquisitive and acrobatic, with their long tails and broad, gripping paws. Some are more confident than others. They're among the few species that link the rainforest canopy and the forest floor. The shaded forest floor is the realm of the detritus feeders, the detrivores. Centipedes and millipedes close the nutrient cycle of the rainforest. They eat dead organic matter and turn it into humus, food for the plants and the trees. In their world, the top predator is the horned toad. It eats anything that fits into its wide mouth. The giant armadillo eats almost nothing but termites and ants. It digs a little burrow with its 20-centimeter-long claws, where it sleeps during the day. Though ideally, it shouldn't dig it so near the water. Giant armadillos are mammals. They grow to 1 meter long and weigh over 30 kilos. They have more than 100 vestigial teeth in their mouths, more than any other mammal, but they barely use them. When they're not hunting insects or worms with their long, sticky tongue, they prefer to keep hidden. They have common ancestors with anteaters and sloths. One of their ancestors, living on the South American plains, grew so big it could weigh more than 1,400 kilos. Giant armadillos are nearly blind and sense danger by their sense of smell. Then, the solution is to cover up. Big cats like pumas need vast territories in the rainforest. Some of it needs to be on the river bank, where light encourages plant growth that attracts the herbivores it will hunt, like these capybara. Relatives of guinea pigs, they're the world's biggest rodents. They always live near water. They're excellent swimmers and divers. And their swimming skills will save them. The puma will not follow them into the water. Pumas very rarely catch capybara. The harpy has had better luck. She's killed a capuchin monkey. But she's abandoned the nest for several hours. Now she can eat. But when she gets back, will the eggs still be alive? Down below, I've spotted a tapir, South America's biggest mammal. It's on its way to a rendezvous with a cowbird. This relationship, just like the oxpeckers and the wildebeest in Africa, has only just been discovered because tapir are lone creatures that don't live in herds. The cowbird cleans the tapir's tough skin, eating whatever sticks to it. The thick layer of fat beneath the skin protects its owner from thorns, sharp branches, or jaguar's claws. When it's finished its grooming, the tapir returns to the bank to find food. Tapirs are related to rhinos and horses. But one big difference is in the way each of its toes forms its own small hoof. This spread foot is ideal for walking in the mud along the riverbank. Curiously, a tapir's eyes work better in the semi-darkness of the forest. That's why it's most active at dawn and dusk. But how does the tapir manage to feed his 300-kilo frame here on the forest floor, where the vegetation is so sparse? Even the tiny leafcutter ants have to climb high into the canopy to collect delicate leaves from the crowns of the trees. They won't eat them. They store the leaf fragments underground, where highly nutritious fungus forms on them. The canopy is the main source of food for all the animals of the rainforest. And that goes for the tapir too. The tapir can't get up here, but the monkeys and gravity do the work for it. Monkeys are constantly climbing through the branches looking for the sweetest fruits. Anything they drop, or anything that ripens and falls before they get to it, is a vital source of sugar and vitamins for the tapir. When they combine that with the water plants and grasses on the riverbank, they have a sufficiently varied diet. Now Young and I take it in turns to watch the harpy's nest. Around us, capuchin monkeys circle constantly in search of insects, fruits, and flowers. They move much faster than the howler monkeys, who only eat low-energy leaves. If that was all there was here, the capuchins would soon starve. When a tropical storm comes, the canopy gives a surprising amount of protection to animals on the forest floor, but very little if you're in the crown. Time to descend. The harpy returns to her nest. She has no protection against the elements. At least she gets to drink the water that runs off her feathers into her beak. She can't leave. She must keep the eggs warm. This is an isolated storm, but it's a sign the rainy season isn't far away. The water level can rise 5 meters in the rainy season, as the river banks disappear into the forest. Some of the rocks vanish too. But the waters don't become any easier to navigate. Waterfalls and whirlpools can still destroy any boat. A big mammal like the tapir is barely affected by the small downpour. And an eagle can shake off the raindrops. The storm has brought us a special treat. A shoal of rainfish have swum upriver to their spawning grounds. This means a feast tonight, but it's also a warning. We have to get back downstream before the waterfalls are impassable. Time is running out.
So what's the harpy eagle young? I don't know what to do.
Oh yeah, maybe we'll get them in a few days.
So let's give us 1 week more or so. Since the rainy season is close. And if the water is high, we can't go back over the fall.
And the area is going to be flooded. You can't really go into the forest. For another week and see what's going to happen. Yeah.
I guess too, another week.
One more week to film a hatching chick. We have an idea what this might be. Time to use the night vision camera. This anteater will be seeking termites in the undergrowth all night long. On the way back, our torchlight picks up an emerald boa. It's too high for a successful lunge. But Young is watching the ground. Amerindians have an extremely developed sense of smell. Young has caught the scent of a poisonous snake. The Fer de Lance is the most poisonous snake in the rainforest. Fatal to humans. And at 2 meters long, so well camouflaged, it's almost impossible to spot. Since last night, this anteater has probably consumed 30,000 ants and termites. His sticky 60-centimeter tongue wheedles the insects out of anthills, holes, and rotten timber. Each individual insect barely offers any nourishment. That's why he has to eat thousands. But he's always careful not to completely empty a nest. His long coat and 40-centimeter tail make him look far bulkier than he is. His tail makes a fine blanket for his daytime snooze. This first day after the storm feels like a day of reckoning. What will we find? The nest is empty. And then a shock. One of the eggs is broken. Has the eagle abandoned the nest for good? Then a motionless little grey bundle begins to stir. The chick weighs about 80 grams at birth, about twice as much as a baby chicken. At just a day old, its legs can't yet carry it. We're still a little concerned that the mother is nowhere to be seen. Eagles tend to keep to the same flight paths, so we know where to look out for her. When she does come back, she doesn't bring any new food, but she has plenty from the monkey she killed. For a while, she seems to do nothing. She just watches her young. Then she starts tentatively to feed it. If it gets enough food, this chick will double its weight within a week. Right now, it's 100 times lighter than its mother, and she will have to feed it for the next 10 months. No easy task for an eagle couple, let alone for a female on its own. Because the chick's hunger will grow with its size. Even now, the pieces of meat she supplies are hardly big enough. But now we're not worried. This female is a good hunter, and around them in the canopy, there's an abundant supply of food. The future of a new harpy generation is assured.